Today we're going to go through Exodus chapter 2, starting with verse 1 and 2. And it states, "And a man of the house of Levi went and took as wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son, and when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. So the woman conceived and she bore a son. The baby Moses opened his eyes to a very unfriendly world at that time. It was back when Egypt was a superpower, and the Egyptians were kind of the main superpower at that time. There was a rule, or not a rule, but a law stating that children of the Hebrews needed to be thrown into the river and killed. The reason for this is back in chapter 1. It states that the Hebrews, they grew and they multiplied, and so by the Hebrews growing and multiplying, the Egyptians became scared of this and came up with that law pretty much to help curb the Hebrew population. And it also says, "A man of the house of Levi went and took his wife, a daughter of Levi." Exodus 6:20 tells us that the names of Moses' parents were Amram and Jochebed. And Jewish legend says that Moses' birth was painless to his mother, that she did not feel a thing, and that when Moses was born, he was surrounded by light, and also that he was just a very beautiful child to look at. So it also says in these two verses that she hid him for 3 months. The parents of Moses did not only do this because of the natural maternal instinct to want to save your child, but they did it out of faith in God. Now we're going to move on to verses 3 through 10, and it reads like this. "But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bulrushes for him, daubed it with asphalt and pitch, and put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river's bank. And his sister stood afar off to know what would be done to him. Then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe in the river. And her maidens walked along the riverside, and when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him, and said, 'This is one of the Hebrews' children.' Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, 'Shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you?' And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, 'Go.' So the maiden went and called the child's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, 'Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages.' So the woman took the child and nursed him, and the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So she called his name Moses, saying, 'Because I drew him out of the water.'" In a literal sense, Moses' mother did exactly what was commanded of her by Pharaoh. She put her child into the water, though she did not kill it. She put it in there, had faith in God that God would, keep her baby safe. And so he does. Pharaoh's daughter finds baby Moses and has compassion on him. So the cool thing about all this is that Pharaoh hires Moses' own mother to take care of her child and pays her. So that is a reward for his mother's faith in God. And God does great things when you pray to him. It also says, "And it became her son." So Moses becomes the Pharaoh's daughter's son, which means that Moses is next in line to become the actual Pharaoh, should he choose to do that. But it also being within that royal lineage, he gets to learn a lot of things that a lot of people don't get to learn. He learns geography, he learns literature, philosophy, music, history, grammar. You have to take into consideration that Egypt is the major power at this time. So, kind of like how America has everything as far as learning goes, acquired learning, as did Egypt at that time. Um, Also, because Moses was part of the royal family, he had a couple people who went with him no matter where he went. And if, say, you were to come up to Moses and you wanted to, well, I don't know, say you were anywhere near Moses, then these two guys would basically have you bow at the knee to Moses, and as he passed or did whatever he was going to be doing. So, as much as Moses was part of the royal family, he never forgot his Jewish heritage in which his mother raised him in. So he was blessed by both sides, really. Let's take a look at verses 11 through 14, and we'll see that Moses is going to kill an Egyptian here, and his crime is going to be discovered. And it reads, "Now it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out to his brethren, and looked at their burdens. And he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So he looked this way and that way, and when he saw no one, he killed the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 Hebrew men were fighting. And he said to one who did the wrong, Why are you striking your companion? Then he said, Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian? So Moses feared, and said, Surely this thing is known." So it states here that Moses was grown, and the age at that point is about 40 years old is what Moses is in this passage. He kills an Egyptian here because he's beating one of his brethren. And this is just kind of a premature attempt right now to fulfill his destiny, what he knows his destiny is going to be. Acts 7 verses 23 through 25 shows us exactly where Moses' heart was in this. And it reads, "Now when he was 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended and avenged him who was oppressed, and struck down the Egyptian. For he supposed that his brethren would have understood that God would deliver them by his hand, but they did not understand." So this is his kind of worldly attempt, his attempt through his own flesh to fulfill his destiny. I'm sure Moses never thought in a million years at that point that he was going to have this stick that turns into a snake, and by doing all these miracles in front of Pharaoh and simply asking for his people to let go, that was how it was going to be, how it was going to occur. That the plagues coming down, the rivers turning into blood, all that. I'm sure at this point that's not really what he was thinking was going to happen. But as you can see, God has his ways of doing things that are set apart from man's. So they also state here, "Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Well, Moses' leadership at this time was not really accepted by the Jews. And there's a lot of similarities between Jesus and Moses. And we'll take a look at them right here. Both of them were favored by God from their birth. They were both miraculously preserved through their childhood. They both had these laws in which they should have been killed, but they were preserved through those laws. Both were mighty in words and deed. They both were very learned. They both offered a deliverance to Israel at their certain times, and both were rejected spitefully. They were both had been rejected of their right to be ruler and a judge over Israel. So also, just like Moses, he had to come down from his palaces in the Egyptian rule. Jesus had to come down from heaven, of his palaces and his thrones of glory, to be with us, so that he could deliver us and his people.